training in preparation for the eventual drawdown of the U.S. peacekeeping force, which still has primary responsibility for the security of our state. An omnibus security sector reform bill to be submitted to the legislature will rationalize the sector, removing duplications and setting mandates that are clear and enforceable. Where applicable, civilian oversight of security units will be required. We are proud of our progress on the economic front. United Nations sanctions on our forestry and diamond operations have been lifted in response to new policy and laws that ensure proper management and use of these resources. In response to revised investment code and revenue law, direct private investment in the country's vast mining and agriculture sectors are on the rise. Growth of 9.5% in 2007 gave us assurance that we would reach our double-digit targets, albeit cautiously. We've reduced that to 7% due to the global financial crisis and its effect that will have on us. Diversity in exports by identifying commodities that qualify to take advantage of our eligibility for AGOA, the African Growth and Opportunities Act, we hope will counter this downturn, as will the right balance between conservation, commercialization, and community benefits as we restart forestry operations. A $4.7 billion external debt is now reduced by $2 billion. And in about a week, when we announce the success on the commercial segment of that debt, and next year, when we reach the completion point under the heavily indebted Poor Countries Initiative, all of that debt will be gone off the shoulders of our children. Government revenue at a paltry $80 million when we took office in 2006 is now close to $300 million, providing the basis to increase the lowest monthly civil service salary from $15 to now $70, with our obligation to take it even further. We continue to strive for progress in good governance and the rule of law. Our efforts recognized by the achievement of threshold status under the Millennium Challenge account. Efficiency in public service requires capacity that comes from a critical mass of qualified people operating under a merit system. We are well advanced in moving in that direction with support from partners on a special programs that facilitate the repatriation of our citizens. Like many of you in this room, we want you home. Inherited systemic corruption embedded in a society for decades is under attack through exposure, audits, and investigation. We became the first country to complete the annual report under the Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative and was so recognized by Transparency International at its Doha conference 2 months ago. A weak judicial system to exert punishment through the rule of law is under reform. strict adherence to the new public procurement law through training and punishment for violation, and passage of the Code of Conduct for Public Officials, now before the legislature, will reinforce efforts to address corruption and improve good governance. Fighting corruption as pervasive and deep-rooted in deprivation will require much more than that. It will require well-paid and well-placed qualified civil servants, widely installed financial management systems, an audit system, a judicial system with the integrity and the will to pursue offenders as required by law. We will continue to work to achieve those objectives. Good governance and the rule of law also require as a central objective an informed civil society and its participation in the processes of governance. To the point of a fault, we have upheld democratic values such as free speech, freedom of association, and an unprecedented freedom of the press. We continue to respect the separation of powers doctrine of our Constitution and are promoting the building of democratic institutions, including political parties. The restoration of infrastructure and basic services is well on course. Electricity and pipe-borne water have been restored to certain areas of the capital for the first time in 14 years. Roads, clinics, hospitals, schools, and other buildings are being renovated and built in all of the 15 counties. Next year, the University of Liberia will move into a $22 million facility at its destroyed Fendel campus. 3 regional community colleges to be built and made operational within the next 3 years will enable our youth to obtain quality higher education without the hardships of relocation to the capital city. Children in remote rural areas will for the first time go to school in a government facility, and young girls whose parents cannot afford tuition will benefit from scholarships to attend public and private schools. This is made possible through Liberian Education Trust, a fund which I established in 2006 with contributions from individuals and institutions here in the United States. They help us. They help us to achieve what we call our 5,500 and 5,000 program. The renovation or construction of 50 schools, 26 of which are well underway. The training of 500 teachers, 200 are already being trained. And the scholarship, 5,000 scholarships from young girls, about 4,000 now have reached them. A similar initiative, the Sirleaf Market Women Fund, has raised over $3 million to support the building and renovation and modernization of markets throughout the country, enabling me to keep my campaign promise. A literacy program supported by the Liberian Education Trust is gaining momentum, and we are pleased to have the return of the Peace School that is now involved in our teachers.